Warriors, happy Liberation Day. What we will be liberated from is our after-tax income by another one. More importantly, today is happy anniversary, F.A.C.E. And you know, we started F.A.C.E. to help traders liberate themselves from whatever mundane job they had and they wanted to get out of it. And I believe it's been 9 years. That's 3 threes. That's a pretty interesting number. A lot of completion in there. So we've helped many people over the years make that transition. We've helped get people funded that are making money as prop traders, and we have had many over the years that came in, struggling, treading water, that have made breakthroughs. So my question to you on Liberation Day is, when are you going to realize that it's an edge to be part of the Forex Analytix community? If you didn't believe it was, you wouldn't be here for F.A.C.E. Take the next step if you really want to be liberated. Because I'll tell you, making more money's never been more important as we continue to get squeezed on all different sides, the price of things, the taxes, the fees going up, the home insurance going up, the auto insurance going up, higher deductibles on medical. So more than ever, let me have a cheer for liberation. And it's not the one that's coming through tariffs today. Liberation is learning to be an effective trader, knowing how to lose so you don't get blown out of the water, collaborating with the best minds in the business, and being patient and waiting for your stop, waiting for your trades. And I think there are a lot of testimonials that could say we accomplished just that in 9 or 10 years. I'm not sure if it's 9 or 10, but it's really been a nice run. And we have some new things happening in the fall. So, let's get busy. It's really this simple. I'll just throw it out there. You pay to learn or you pay the market. And you do both, even when you're paying to learn. But you don't pay a Harvard tuition, maybe a community college tuition, if you get it. That is hearing my voice right now is going to sign up and make the move to become liberated on Liberation Day? Anyone want to say, yeah, Dale, I'm going to do it? Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Blake, Ryan, the whole team. I know you already have, Brand, so why even text it? We know who's already in here. Anyone? Okay. Uh, let's get to the markets. How you doing, team?
Hey, good morning,
And
Coach.
All right. So starting to get a little pissed off here.
already, you've been on 5 minutes.
Easy, buddy.
I
Easy.
just noticed, Blake, my blood pressure was going up a little bit.
Only 4 minutes, 18
Yeah,
seconds.
I can't afford it. So anyway, we talked about Aussie. This brings my blood pressure down a little bit yesterday. Nice attempt. It's trying. Still the relative strength leader. Um, I think we're trying to turn the corner here, Ryan. What do you think?
It's a big old corner. I know that.
Yeah. Where's the biggest part of the corner? 320. What
Uh,
would convince you, or do you need 64?
yeah, yeah. That
Okay,
64 is a bit like the 105 in the euro.
okay.
It's that sort of level. So anything else is, how that what happened with that break at 105 that led to where
Yeah.
we are now. in the euro. So Aussie dollar at 64 is the similar situation.
Okay, cable, which you preferred, is looks great, looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still adding to that?
No. I'm flat in that. I've not got anything in that. I've not got an awful lot on at all, apart from my dollar mex. I had a little nibble in dollar CAD yesterday, just on the fix. It got that big fat red candle. I had a little pick up there, but it's done nothing since. So I got out of that last night for.
This makes my blood pressure go up too when I don't understand something. Everything does. You know what? I think I'll have some salt. Yeah. The end, looks vulnerable, man. Looks like it wants to attack this level, and a breakdown would take it beneath 47, would measure beneath it, like, I don't know, 45 or so. Bonds are still looking pretty good. You know what's interesting? It's not happening today, but even when the S&Ps rallied the other day, they're giving up the ghost today. But both bonds and stocks rallied together for a day. When the stocks came back, they didn't sell TLT off. It looks like we're, ready to break out here in the bonds. And
Hey, by the way, do you guys hear any feedback?
yeah, I am hearing a little.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, can you mute real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ryan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan's got some feedback on his
You're
microphone.
can you walk outside of that wind tunnel?
Can you get out of the toilet, please, Ryan? No, I don't know. There's like it sounds like you got a vacuum cleaner going on. It's weird.
Might be my PC. It's getting as hot as Dale is.
Oh,
all right, Ryan, let me tell you something, man. I want to warn you. I want you to get out of the rest of your gold logs here.
Well, why? Do you want to go short?
No, I just don't want you to be long anymore. I'm in minors. I'm in puts and minors.
Yeah.
But I have no reason to say that, except that I think it's so crowded. I have no RSI stuff to tell me, but the thing that tells me it's possible is that the gold silver ratio, when that turns, that's when gold's going to get hit. So,
Well, I may get out some of it a bit later just to take some risk off the table, because I think we're seeing this trading with the tariff story. We had those highs yesterday. We had Asia buying again last night, took it up 20 odd bucks, but that didn't last, and then it reversed right around and came down. It's down off those highs from yesterday, in line with that tariff news that we were getting, that things might not be as bad, or we know what the plan is. So this is a risk. If the market likes the news, it's not too bad, then I think we could see a bit of retracing gold.
Okay. So I called this yesterday. I asked Peter Bookfar if he knew what a graveyard save was. He did play pinball. He said he said he was a Gen Xer, so you made me feel old. I thought he was a boomer.
I think Peter Bookvar and myself and Ryan are all the same age. I think he's like 50.
25.
Huh?
25.
He's 25, yes. 25 and has more hair than you. Yes, correct.
That's a low blow. That's a low blow for
Peter, if you've seen Peter, he doesn't have a big edge on you, right? Don't worry about it.
But when you said graveyard save, I mean, I played pinball, but not as much as you, because just as I was getting in the arcades at my age, that's when we went to like Space Invaders and Pac-Man.
God, you got
so I even though I love pinball, it was, I was like right at that age where, the video games came in. So
that's when I stopped.
Yeah, same. It was for the oldies.
Yeah. So when you said graveyard save, I was like, huh? But then after you explained it, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh, that, people would cheer you on anyway. So that's what this is. We better not take this out. It has to dig its heels in. If we could clear 5,700, then we could get an extension of this bounce. You know, ideally, we would get something like this. I still think there's a chance. I'm not going to step in front of it. To me, I have a list of short candidates if we got back up to 5,900. So we'll see. Right now, I'm not short. I don't have any puts. It makes me have FOMO, but I'm just going to see how this thing plays out. Uh, I still think there's a chance that we have some type of rally. It's the most interesting bear market. We've been in fear and greed territory for over 3 months without even really more than one or two decent bear market rallies. And sentiment is definitely not on the bear side. I mean, it's fear. The market dropped, and people were bearish at the top. That made that unusual too. I think that's what the melt up people are hanging on to, is that there. It's not, usually you have euphoria at the top, right? Like we did in 2000, like we did with going into the housing crisis. We had a lot of euphoria, people making money in real estate, all of that. This top, people were hip to there might be a problem, and really, I even saw the credit spreads. We've had other corrections before over the years, but credit spreads are blown out pretty good. So, that tells me if I get this rally, to me, it's a rally to sell, at least attempt it, rather than a melt up like a lot of guys are saying that we're going to have after we bottom here. So that's the way they look to me. Um, I'm thinking mid-April. Um, Van Maldonado has a pretty good date. He has these Rebel Yell things, and he had one here. So
Rebel
we'll
yell,
see.
baby.
Yeah, Maldonado, that guy. I tell you what, you know what it says? Use more olive oil, and you'll become a better trader. Okay, so here we go. Gold, Ryan, Dixie. That's about it. WTI. It's everyone's talking about that there's going to be military action in Iran, and there's probably people front running it here. I don't know what to do with it. It doesn't look bad. Um, I wonder how the market's going to handle that. I've seen these types of scenarios before, like in the war Blake was in. What happened was crude would it went up, up, up until the invasion, until the bombs started dropping, and both gold and oil would peak on the initiation of the conflict, and bonds would be going down into that, and they'd all reverse. I saw it happen from the golf course during the Gulf War. I've seen it before, so we may start we may be pricing in a military strike in the oil right now. So um, it'll do it without me. So that's it, Ryan. Basically, you're flat. What are we going to look for when this thing is announced? What is it? 1 Eastern? It's coming out.
It's actually 4 o'clock Eastern, which will be
Oh,
one
after the
o'clock our time,
close.
Dale.
They always want to do things. So
And
yeah,
by the way, I'm gonna take over the screen while you're
go
asking the
ahead.
questions. Okay.
All right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
There.
So Ryan, as Dale is asking, what do you think? Because I listened to the Flow show today. I kind of know what you're gonna say, but I think it's important for the people here to hear some of your scenarios because everybody's got to have a baseline, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to have a baseline. The baseline at the moment is we've probably had the broad strokes of what's coming from those stories yesterday and overnight. The marker is sort of 20% for a tariff number. If it's higher than that, it's worse. It's bad news. If it's less than that, it's good news. We don't know. Are they going to be scaled? Are they going to be caps? Are they going to be this? Are they going to be that? So really, that's the first thing you want to look at is the numbers. Secondly, what you need to look for is if there's any get out clauses. So if Trump says, yeah, Canada, you're getting 20%, but you know, our teams have been talking for the last 2 weeks, so we're going to give you a month grace on that. Or yes, we're not going to go as hard on that part because we've got a deal in play and all that sort of stuff that may take away from tariffs going on. And that's what the market will move on more than if it gets what it's expecting, which is 20% tariffs and this, that, and the other. So that's the base case. I think we're in a bit of buy, rumor, sell, fact, or whichever way you want to call it, because we've heard all that news yesterday about what we might be getting. But it's always what we don't know. Is he going to tariff something we haven't heard about? Is he going to hit a sector or industry we haven't heard about? Or is this just the beginning and there's going to be more next month? You know, there's all these unknown stuff that we don't know about. So really, trading wise, it's going to be a coin toss. It's another one of those moments. Whatever asset market you're looking at, it could be 100 ticks, 100 pips higher or 100 pips lower than where it is going in, or more by the end of the day. And then tomorrow is just as bad because we're going to get all the reaction from everyone who's been tariffed and hit with this, that, and the other. So that could add to it. So it's not over today. It's not over tomorrow. And then we're into NFP and everything else going on. So it's a mess. It's going to be a mess. Be careful. That's all I can say.
And by the way, Mo just said and just reminded us we missed ADP. ADP came in bigger than expected. No response. I mean, obviously, no. I mean, the dollar ticked up for a second, but no one cares about this yet. I mean, we'll care about the jobs data on Friday on the final data. But you're right, Ryan. Everybody's going to be reacting, and it's the problem with today, in my opinion, is that he is announcing it at 4 o'clock. And you know how Trump is. Well, it's no secret. He's going to talk and talk and talk and talk, and he's going to be late. And the problem is what time he's going to start talking and what time the announcements are going to come out. You remember the interbank changeover is around 5 p.m. Eastern. So an hour after he's scheduled to start talking, the interbank market closes. There's a lot of institutional platforms that won't even allow you to trade. I traded on JP Morgan's platform, up until 4 years ago, I guess, and JP Morgan's platform. I mean, I was stuck, and then I had to hit the bid. We're talking, I was trading some pretty large size, and there's a lot of bank traders that are going to not be able to execute some stuff around that time. So whatever's happening today, and you can say buy the rumor, sell the news. The Asian markets are the markets that are going to be freaking bananas tonight, I think, and the European markets, because everybody's going to be repositioning. If you're a North American or an American trader, or you trade here in the Americas, you're in this time zone, you're going to be up all night tonight, probably navigating through this stuff. I know I'm going to be in front of the computer probably pretty late this evening myself. So what do you have to say about some of the execution times that are are happening here?
Yeah, it's good. That's going to be a right roll pain in the ass, put it bluntly. So yeah, just another thing you got to factor in. Really, I'm only going to be here because I'll be doing the options. I'll be well in holiday mode, so I'll watch the news, watch the headlines. If there's a trade, I'll take it. If not, it's all yours, mate.
And I think a lot of us are going to be trying to let the dust settle. I find kind of fortunate. I filmed the trade-off this evening, which is obviously Thursday morning in Australia, with Chris Weston from Pepperstone. So I'll be literally filming as the markets are probably going bananas, which is I almost am looking at it as more of a safe thing because it might save me from myself for a certain respect. But I want to talk about a few.
One thing, Blake. A lot of people poo-poo the Asian session, but you and I and Ryan have seen important reversals happen in Asia.
Yeah.
Before Europe. We've seen it in gold when it was down $70 one day. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
mean, don't discount this Asian session. You may have some real important inflection points here.
And I
So
agree. I agree with that, Dale. And I would say the most explosive moves I've ever seen in gold have been in Asia,
yeah. And Ryan
personally.
brings it up every day. They're buying more in Asia. They're buying more in Asia. So there could be, some interesting things in PMs in Asia tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
So
what if everybody, and this is the what if, right? And by the way, I just want to mention, there's a lot of infighting, or at least reported infighting in the Trump administration right now. Everybody's going through the details. Lutnick's already kind of he's the bag man. So if everything goes sideways, if shit goes sideways, they already got their bag man who's going to take the hit. He's the most vocal. He's irritating everybody. He's in everybody's face. Apparently, this is all multiple reports that I've read. Bessent is the voice of reason right now. He's the one that's saying, "Hey, we're going to come out with a cap. Let's say it's a 20% cap on all these different countries. You can work down from there." There's different White House officials, trying to figure it out and figure out what the right pacing tempo on announcements are going to be. So there's a lot of factors that are still being discussed right now. But let's say that tariffs are not as bad or not viewed as bad as expected. The dollar sells off. Gold might actually go higher. And you can see how gold's in that acceleration mode. And I'm bringing it back to our conversation in gold. We're already in an acceleration mode here. This is like the precursor to a blow off top. If you don't think that that's what this is, that's what this
yeah,
is, right now. I
yeah.
mean, I don't see why we couldn't see gold at if things get out of
5,000.
hand. Yeah,
5,000.
well, that would be crazy, but I think that'd be crazy. But
3,250 a lot of people have. You have it up there too?
3250, 3500, 3700. I mean,
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of these moves, you, me, Ryan, over the years. You could very easily see a move like this, right?
You
And
could.
I mean, that I'm just drawing it out. This is a weekly chart. That is very doable, in my opinion. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm
who's
not.
short? I mean, to drive it anymore.
Oh
I
well,
don't think there are any more shorts.
no, I don't think so
But
either. But I was just, I had Omar just asking a moment ago in the chat room, any updates on XAU, and I've kind of gotten my I kind of, Omar, if you're listening in, that's a question that I think a lot of people are asking from a retail point of view, like, hey, should we be shorting up here? He hasn't responded. But I think a lot of people look at, these levels and they're like, well, I think the risk reward is good to be short. I think a lot of people feel that way. I wouldn't be short gold for right now, but
yeah,
you start seeing an accelerated move, you're just going to get people getting out of the way. That's the problem when you have an illiquid market like Asia, and gold starts to explode. Everybody's just going to back away. They're going to put their offers at 3,300, 3,500, 3,700. That's
you
what's
know
going to
our
happen.
our guest today, Bob Coleman, has a physical business with vaults in Idaho. I've
Yeah.
bought silver from him. Actually, at $21, I bought. But he was way on top of this whole move when he started seeing lease rates go up for gold, and there was all kinds of inventory issues in silver. They were starting to replace the silver in the contract with things that were not contract specific for silver. And then we had that big thing about all that gold being moved from London
Hmm.
to the U.S. I'm going to ask him about what he thinks about it. But there still is a battle going on between the, paper shorts and the bulls, and and it's based on reality.
Well,
Uh,
if you guys are precious metal traders and this is something that interests you, make sure you stick around for today's interview. It should be a good one then. I think
yeah,
that's going to be a good conversation that you have with him. Hey, real quick, since we only have about 5 minutes left, before then, I want to talk just about a couple things. Ryan, I want to hear some of your trade ideas for tonight. Personally, and I'm a lot of these conversations we have in the Forex Analytics chat room, guys. I'm gonna tell you, if you're not in here having these conversations with us, this is the place to be tonight. It's $1 for 10 days. Just take a trial, come in the chat room, come hang out with us tonight. The next few days are going to be great between the mayhem over the next 24, 48 hours, then going in a non-farm payroll, being in this chat room, knowing in the trades room, like, oh, Michael and Blake just got long some Euro Aussie an hour and 2 minutes ago. And I'm up 17 pips right now. When we're doing things, and closing out positions, taking positions on, taking positions off, if you guys want to see what other traders are doing all the time, it's a great place to be. All right, so I want to talk about just a few things that we've already had a little bit of a conversation about in Forex Analytics. I don't want to give it all away, but the dollar Canadian, in my opinion, gave us a little bit of a false breakout yesterday. And you can see how we did this false break of this wedge. And I think that's at risk of a sell-off. Now, I'm not going to just start selling dollar CAD as a result. I'm not going to do that. But if we have dollar weakness, this is kind of where I'm looking. I know Ryan's probably going to talk a little bit about the dollar MEX. I would love to see the dollar MEX trading back up at 2070, 2080. That'd be a nice cipher pattern. I would be looking to sell right into that, all of these spike highs. We might get that after, the original tariff news. And I think the euro is set up for a really, it's poised for another break to the upside. I think the euro looks good.
112, Blake.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I'll show that big breakout there.
Yeah, it's going to be decision time when we get to 111. But yeah. I think that, if the dollar weakens, you've got plenty of opportunities. If the dollar strengthens, I'm really, if I think about what I want to do, if the dollar really starts to strengthen, I know, Dale, you're played on the long side of the Aussie, which I think is great from where you're at, because you got in yesterday, or we're looking at it yesterday when it was closer to this. You could see where your breakdown point is.
Right.
But if that gives way, I do want to be on the short side of the Aussie. And I don't think there's anybody.
That's a key.
Yeah, right. You know where your levels are.
Probe, take partials, protect the remainder. There's no pressure on this trade right now. That's why I could still do it at 85 years old.
Okay? Yeah, there you go. No pressure.
No pressure at 85.
John,
you don't even know what you're doing. Huh?
John asked about the U.S. dollar Swedish krona. I agree that it might even be a better choice than the euro. I mean, if the euro is going to break out to the upside, the euro Swedish krona might be the best trade on the short side. John, I agree with you. So again, these are
hawk has an eagle eye.
Yeah, well, these are, again, conversations that we just had about, an hour and a half ago. I agree with you there. And, there's conversations about, why it looks the best. Ryan, I know we only have a couple minutes. What are you thinking going into today?
I'm thinking about my dollar MEX, and I'm in the same boat as you, but I'm still short. I might just move my stop out the way. I don't want to get pinged on my stop. And then it collapsed after that, and then I haven't got any skin in the game. So I might just move my stop way above 21. And,
where's your average short? I mean, I know you tell us in the trades room, but just so everybody here kind of knows what you're at. By the way, equity markets are in lows right now and continuing lower. So
20.98.
29.38.
20 for 98. 20.98.
Oh man, your cost average is way the hell up here. Yeah, but I don't think he'll reach for you. But
yeah, I was adding on the way up, so, and then as it came down, I get rid of all the lower entries and keep the higher ones.
Nice to be a European. Nice to be a European. Being able to trade that way. So what else are you thinking?
Excuse me. Dollar CAD is another one to keep an eye on. That's firmly in the crosshairs, obviously, the tariffs. But I think you've just got to be careful. And if you get a headline move and it's gone your way, Dale was saying about, trading out things. If if you get a headline that pushes a number your way, pushes a price your way in a big way, take some profit. Because if it doesn't break, if it doesn't hold, like dollar CAD, if it breaks through 42.60, 70, which is the bottom of the 4-month range, it has to hold that break. And it hasn't managed to do that in the last 4 months, no matter what the news has been. So if you get a spike move and you're in profit, take some off. Don't look to get thoughts in the mouth, because you'll feel a fool if it reverses on you and you think, shit, I could have had 100 pips there, and you let it go.
You know what? If you need to, put a cash register next to your trading station, so that when you take partials, you ring it. All right.
Yeah.
You have to get paid. Okay. This should be
Yeah.
the easiest thing for people to do, to take partials, because you're getting paid. Everyone likes getting paid. So pay
This isn't the
yourself.
cinema. Yeah, we don't pay to watch a show. We pay to make money. So
Yeah.
if you
There
make
you
money,
go.
take it.
Yeah, take something. Don't take
Right.
all of it, because that's what I used to do. And then I'd sit there and look at windfalls
Then
go without
procrastinate.
me. I'd make the tough money, and I, thought I could get out at a great level and I'd be able to get back in because I'd see the next correction. And no, don't do. I wasted many years doing that. So just partials take all the thinking out of it. Do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, today is going to be a really, really wild day in the
Do
market.
you
I
feel
mean, it won't be.
liberated? You feel
I'm
liberated
going to feel
today?
liberated after this evening, I think. But yeah, make sure you guys log into Forex Analytics. Use your live squawk feed. The chat room is located right next to your icon, right here next to your name. You'll see. Go to the chat room. It'll take you right over here. Come join us. Be here for the next few days. It's going to be a really, really great time to be in the markets. As a trader, as somebody who really, really loves to scalp around, this has been like my playground the last couple of months. Volatility has been high in FX. Volatility has been high in equities, and this is when us as traders, we get to make hay when the sun is shining, and the sun is bright. And as traders, we should all be liberated right now. And as Dale's been saying and Ryan's been saying, it is all about risk reward. Make your position sizes a little bit smaller, stops a little wider. This way you can compensate for all the volatility that's going to be hitting us, because the opportunities are going to be abound over the course of the next several days. So, be in the proper mindset and the proper environment to take advantage of this stuff. So I'll see you guys in the chat room. Dale, I know you have your interview. Is he here?
Yeah, can you promote him for me? Because I made you host earlier.
Oh, you did. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
His name is
Bob Coleman.
Bob. Okay, here, Bob. I'm gonna promote you right here. So you have to accept that. And Bob, we will see you on the flip side over here as a panelist. Here he is.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
So Dale, have a great interview. Guys, stick around, especially if you're a precious metals person, stick around for this interview. And Ryan, great job. I think K-Man is going to be joining us again tomorrow. So it'll be nice to have him back.
Yeah.
Hey, happy anniversary, Blake, Ryan.
Happy anniversary.
And you
So
for leading the show.
hard to believe we've been in the trenches together this long, huh?
I mean, it's been a long time.
Because I know I'm easy to get along with. Anyway,
love you,
So
Dale.
am I if you're buying.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Great show today. Get in the room tonight with Blake. And I want to bring a guy on. I'm going to bring on Bob Coleman, who really was on top of this whole precious metal story. While it was happening, he started talking about gold lease rates going up. He started talking about what was in the warehouses, that wasn't contract specific type of silver. Bob, what a sea change since you and I last talked. Last time we talked, retail was bummed out. They were trying to sell their silver. and wholesalers weren't giving them good bids. How have things changed in your business since we last talked?
Yeah, you could say it's night and day in terms of activity. You still have. It's interesting because even with the tariffs and so forth, you're every notch higher in the market as gold goes higher and silver goes higher, you get a new wave of selling kicking in. So the retail, whether it's a source of funds that they're still trying to use the metals for, um, eh, or just non-believer that okay, this market's not going to hold here, it's going to get smashed back down. Um,
Sammy Slammy.
yeah, it's that mentality I think has kind of infected, I guess, the retail crowd. There are events where you see, like when Elon Musk talked about Fort Knox, you got a wave of retail
Yeah.
buying. And of course, you had this latest silver squeeze sort of effort, I guess, or just more of a marketing thing, I guess you could say. Um, I keep attributing those types of days as trying to go to Home Depot buying 2x4s to control the lumber market. But I get the idea that the dealers need to somehow promote. But the underlying theme that we've continued to see in the gold market and silver market is the higher net worth investor continues to allocate whether it's absolutely a new position or existing positions into the physical precious metals world, where I think many of these people that basically were traditional stock and bond owners have realized, wait a second, there's a sea change that's happening politically, and I got to be prepared for it. So it's
Well,
interesting how.
we're also seeing a lot of people follow like the Dow versus gold and equities versus gold, and there was a breakdown of the markets maintaining the edge in an uptrend, and that trend is broken. That hasn't happened in a long time. So that is a secular shift from all the money flow going into equities to gold beginning to outperform that asset class, especially after this correction. So even if we had corrections in metals, that's not going to change that trend for quite some time.
Yeah, the old saying, "There's no fever like gold fever." Sometimes this thing could take a life of its own. But at the end of the day, you try to just take a step back and understand, the larger picture. As a physical metals owner, your goal is long term. It's not to try and trade the market. And right now, you have a potential shift happening with uh, for example, one of the things that I discuss with clients is OFAC, which is a government organization that basically does sanctions. It's in charge of sanctions globally for trade and so forth, and that has just absolutely exploded from about, I think it was 800 or so in 2000 to 18,000 today, and that's on an annual basis. Trade sanctions that are happening not just with the typical Iran, North Korea type of situation, but also allies and so forth, trading partners, and that creates more of a more friction in the trade world. And people are saying, well, listen, if the U.S. is going to use punitive powers to try to enhance policy, maybe I should take my money home. And you're seeing that as well with the dollar falling. So understanding those types of dynamics, I think, gives people maybe a longer term picture. Like you said, there's going to be corrections. If you get into the metals for the wrong reason, you may get out of it for the wrong reason. Whereas if this is more of a secular play and a shift, maybe that we're seeing in this country, you have to maybe take that, to try to understand that larger picture.
Okay.
One
I
thing.
wanted to ask you about what your view is on that huge story about all that gold coming out of the UK and being shipped to the US. What was behind that?
It was interesting. I talked to a number of people over there that were part, that were in the LBMA sort of network and so forth. And basically, you have the Bank of England controls or stores 400,000 gold bars, and they can only process so much each day. I think it's like up to 5 tons a day or something like that. They're just limited. It's the size of the door, the logistics of getting trucks, and the ability to put it on a plane, the ability to ensure so much value per plane. You're limited with some of those logistics, and it was just basically a complete bottleneck just at the facility trying to move that much metal in a very short period of time. It'll happen, but you're very limited. Just basically the size of the door. You can only move so much through it, and so and
Okay.
then you have to remember these are allocated bars. So these bars have specific numbers, and the bars trade, over the last 20, 30 years amongst counterparties, and those bars that may have been in JP Morgan's corner, a long time ago, now have been scattered throughout the entire vault. So you're picking and packing certain bars in certain areas. So it just takes a while to do that. I think there's obviously, when it hits the media, it gets the sensationalist type of headlines, but the lease rates in for gold have certainly normalized. Silver is still high, about 6%, I believe, as I last checked on silver. And that's created this permanently elevated EFP, this exchange for physical premium between the London spot market and the lead month futures contract. And that's partly due to the tariffs and trying to understand the effects that's going to have on silver. Platinum, though, is an interesting story. I don't know. I don't know if I sent you a couple charts in your DM on X. Platinum's lease rates are 15%, which is unbelievable. It's a really, really tight market. And so what I did last month, the fund I manage, which is primarily gold and silver, it's about 72% silver, 28% gold or so. I've started now finally to take a small position in platinum. And this chart right here is an interesting chart. And I wanted to get your take on it too, because this is a 50-year chart, where you have this consolidating triangle on a long term basis, and then the last 3 years, it's also been
really
consolidating.
Compressing. Yeah.
Yes.
Compressing.
And they both are almost on top of each other. And at the same time, this apex is due, I think, around 2026. And what's interesting with platinum, the story behind it, it's obviously been a dog. I mean, this is, if you thought silver was bad, you haven't been a platinum investor. But the
Great, Bob.
but this is how as a contrarian kind of thinks here, because it's like, okay, everybody's talking about gold and potentially silver. Silver hasn't broken out yet, so it's not hit front page headlines. But platinum is one of those that's put way back on the last pages of the newspaper.
Palladium even further back, right?
Palladium had its rise. I mean, it had an amazing run from 2000, I think,
and an amazing crash.
Yes. Yeah, and the platinum story is interesting because some of the research I've been following right now, platinum has plenty of above ground stocks, but it has mining difficulties with South Africa with the energy and so forth, and the cost of mining platinum is much higher. And of course, Russia is the other location where a lot of platinum comes out of, and that mainly flows eastward to Asia. But the interesting thing is, as these supply constraints kind of take hold, and we're seeing sort of this supply deficit, but it's working off the above ground stocks. The above ground stocks are due to be worked off anywhere between 2027 and 2029, depending on obviously some of the catalytic, some of the uses of platinum. But the big story with platinum obviously is hydrogen going forward, but it's still being used obviously as a catalytic for the diesel engines and some of the gas engines. But it's interesting because these stars are sort of lining up here, and it's again, it's not sexy right now because it's not going through the roof like gold is. But these are things that from a sort of the contrarian standpoint to start looking at because platinum is an extremely small market. It's 20 times the gold market is 20 times larger than the platinum market. It's just and when platinum moves, it really takes off. And you can kind of see you had a very similar, almost like a descending, the same type of triangle back from the highs of 1979 down to the lows of 1999. You could draw a
Let's see that.
downtrend line there, and you saw another sort of short,
Yeah.
that consolidating triangle. So these are things to watch for. And
Okay. Did you want my opinion?
yeah.
All right. I mean, that's a nice formation. Sometimes the first breakout is the fake out. Okay, it's possible, but my bullish view would be definitely the three drives. Your first drive in 1980, your second drive in '08, and we have another one coming above that high. Now, if we break that 900 level, we could go to 500. So you would just draw a straight line against the low in '09, the low in 2020, and that would be where the channel would be if it breaks down. So, but the bullish counts way above 2200. Would you put on long gold? I mean, long platinum, short gold spreads here?
To me, I don't really short the metals,
Yeah.
only because
Okay.
there's
But you
there's
like the white stuff. The white stuff, don't you think gold's out of line with the white stuff right now? Because
go to the
people are in recession mode, depression mode. The economy is going to crater. So industrial metals are, it's all going to gold because that's your hedge against fiat and debt. And if the economy doesn't go into, you know, a quagmire and we happen to, have some growth for another year or, after this growth scare going into the end of the year, things are stronger. The white metals should outperform the fear metal, right? Because what do you
yeah.
think?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I agree. The idea is that it's also the electrification story. Are people going to it?
Yes.
Is are from what I understand out there, the electric car sort of surge in the United States has sort of died off. And
But not
electrification is
these
obviously.
data centers, so for AI, they're going to
Yeah,
need silver, right?
yeah, and yeah. So there is this industrial component, but typically gold, if it leads the charge, typically when you see the market broaden out, it usually goes into the white metals at some point. But when those things go up, they go up like a hockey stick. So, and the other chart I showed you which is really interesting because you mentioned gold
Yeah, let
relative
me
to
bring it up.
platinum.
Okay, there you go.
This is the platinum gold ratio going back into the mid 80s, and you can see
Yeah,
that platinum to gold is, it's typically about the same price or even higher most of the time.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just really, since I think this, like you're saying, this monetary event that we've been seeing since the great financial crisis, gold has sort of become this monetary instrument that has sort of led the metals. But you're talking, was it there's about 0.32 ounces of gold for every 1 ounce of platinum. That's unheard of. I don't think this
Yeah.
has been this low
This
in
is
human
this.
history.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So a very undervalued. I like things that we're seeing for the first time in human history. So yeah, how's business, Bob?
Yeah,
Picking
it's
up
going.
or?
Yeah, it's going good. We've upped it our over 800 million in assets that we're storing here at the facility. We're
Wow,
starting,
nice.
so it's been growing. The big thing with me is trying to educate people again, not get them all hyped up on gold going to $50,000 an ounce or
Yeah.
$100,000 an ounce. Is just try to control expectations, and let the market tell us where it's going to go, rather than trying to dictate these crazy price. I hate to see those kind of things, because what happens is these dealers just all they're doing is pumping premiums and making the client sort of look straight up in the air without looking down at what they're paying for. And so but yeah, this has been, obviously it's been an exciting market. It's been extremely volatile. Just talking through industry players, even some of the big experts out there, to give you an idea of the volatility we're seeing in the metals markets, relative to the EFP and some of the leasing rates and some of the financing costs and carrying costs. Some of the big refiners and so forth are having difficulty trying to read this market day to day due to Trump's comments,
Yeah.
trade policy. Everyone is trying to figure this thing out. And right when you think you've got it locked in, another comment comes out from left field and throws the market into another tizzy.
Yeah. Get used to it. I do, I do like when Biden was president, you'd have this, your hand would just go up gradually, left, up, or right. And now it's turned into, since that bear raid in December, everything has changed. It's great for traders,
Hmm.
but you need skill. You can't just, go in there and think you're gonna read a book over the weekend about brain surgery and then go into the operating room Monday. That's what people think about trading. So, Bob, uh, here we are, the beginning of a new quarter. I don't know. Do you feel liberated today? It's Liberation Day. I was telling our community that we're just going to be liberated, uh, cash from our wallet to pay another tax from our after-tax income for tariffs.
Yeah, it's flush. The hard part that I see is the consumer. I put out a tweet yesterday or a post yesterday about since 1975 is we're talking, or was it $79 trillion have been basically taken from the public's hands, the 90%, and given to the 1% or so. Um, it's those kind of things that build resentment, and what you
Yes.
need, in terms of, there's a lot of obviously frustration out there, but you go through a recession, and that's the match to the kindling that really starts to stoke a lot of anxiety as well as frustration. And I think the administration, I hope they do well, and I hope their calculations and everything are correct, and they're able to rebuild the economy. I mean, this has obviously been a long time coming, with basically for the last 40 years or so, 50 years of pumping money, extending credit, spending, beyond fiscal means and so forth. And eventually we were going to hit this wall. And maybe that's the post right there, since 1975. Just go up a little bit. Yeah,
There
right
you
there.
go, right there.
Yeah. Yeah. These are the kind of things that you get into recession, you could see a lot of frustration hit the streets. Crime
Yeah,
starts to rise. I mean,
yeah,
these are this is the bubbling under the surface, and gold is telling you something. It doesn't go to 3,000 because it's rainbows and unicorns out there. It's telling you something. There's real concern that's developing within the U.S. and not only that, around the world. I mean, gold's hitting new all-time highs in other currencies. It's not just the
yes,
U.S. So
yes. Yeah, it's interesting, because Larry Williams, who most people know, he's a legend. He used to say when gold was going up with the market, which has been happening for a while until recently, that it's not a healthy condition. That gold is kind of like your temperature. As gold goes up, you have a very high fever. There's something wrong with the patient, and gold is a symptom of it. People are only thinking about the appreciation, but Bob brought up what the meaning is. It's people running away from what they've trusted their whole life and no longer do. So what they say about confidence, Bob, that it's great until people find out what the con is in confidence.
yeah,
You could use that one.
yeah, or or
I
or
like it.
or, or I kind of call it Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin. I mean, it's
Oh,
just,
that's Peter Grandage. Was that
yeah.
him or you? Who made it up?
Oh,
Come on.
it was probably someone else, but it's just,
Okay.
to me, you're seeing this sort of idea of creating something out of nothing that's ultimately still nothing. And the metals, it's I keep telling clients the metals are the turtle in the turtle in the hair, or tortoise in the hare story. It's going to be there the long term. You just got to have some patience with it.
Okay, Bob, I think that's a good way to leave it. And I hope everyone else's turtle does better than mine. That palm tree and its little thing that you put it in fell over, hit him on the head, and that was the end of Tommy Turtle. So, Bob, always great talking to you. Pete, I encourage everyone to follow Bob. Here's his handle. You want to know what's happening in the cash market? Here's the guy to follow. Okay. And if you're interested in buying physical silver, I can attest to I got a great deal. I wasn't, robbed on the spread, and the delivery was efficient. So I'm a fan of yours, buddy.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'm a big fan of your work as well.
All right, Bob Coleman, everyone at Profits Plus ID, which is in Idaho, God's country. Bob Coleman from God's country. Good talking to you, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Dale.
All right, yeah, have a great quarter. We'll be talking about what's going on in June.
Sounds
Okay?
good. Okay, thanks.
All right. That's a wrap, everyone. Bob's a good source for you guys to pay attention to. You're welcome, John. People are thanking you, Bob. All right. So, this is not the end, even if we have a correction. It's still just beginning. So remember, don't just count your coins, your bars, your nuggets, count your blessings. And good luck later on tonight. Asia's going to be wild. And see everyone tomorrow. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios. See you, Bob.
Thanks. You too. Bye bye.